Salve to 5th and 6th grade families. My name is Mrs. Costello, as you know. I'm going to start these videos to help families understand what's going on in Latin for the next week ahead. Also to help children, the students, and parents go over the vocabulary words of the week, so we just have a general idea of what we are doing. So this week, next week, it will be in Chapter 8. Chapter 8 is learning first personal pronouns. So think I and we, of me, mine, to, for me, by, with, from me. Now, I know a lot of you are thinking, if you've kept up with your Latin, isn't there a pronoun at the end of every Latin verb? At the end of, you can just use in Latin that ost, mus, tis, endi at the end of the Latin verb, just normally. However, there are these words that you can add in for pronouns to add emphasis to a Latin sentence. These words don't happen actually a lot. Most times we just use the verb for your pronoun. However, there are these words available and they do show up in Latin texts. So it's good for them to memorize these words in order to make it easier to understand and translate Latin texts. As they get older and learn more and read more Latin texts, knowing these personal pronouns, even if they're not used commonly, will help them immensely. So for the personal pronoun charts, you can go down or across. I will go down. So we have ego, I, mei, of my, me, mine. Mihi, to, for me. Me, me. May, by, with, from me. Nos, we. Nostrum, nostri, of us, ours. Nobis, to, for us. Nos, us. Nobis, by, with, from us. I will say that chart again, but I want to explain that you can see these words all over our songs that we sing in Latin. For example, nos and nobis. Dona nobis is a song that we sing all the time. Dona nobis, pacem, pacem. That song we sang last year. That word is in our Latin. So, sorry. I will say this chart again. This time I will only say the Latin as a chant. Ego, mei, mihi, me. Nos, nostrum, nobis, nos, nobis. I'll say it again. Ego, mei, mihi, me. Nos, nostrum, nobis, nos, nobis. I will also post a video here of another man's explaining these words and going through a chant to help you memorize this. The next thing we will do is go over our new vocabulary. So the very first word we see on our page is juvo, juvare, juvi, jutum. Now this curriculum writes out both the classical Latin spelling and the ecclesiastical Latin spelling, which means that classical is I, and the ecclesiastical or church Latin, or the Latin we see in church songs, uses a J. But the I is used in classical Latin texts. They did not invent the J at that time in ancient Rome. That didn't come till the Middle Ages. But we will just say this one time. Juvo, juvare, juvo, juvi, jutum. To help. Now the next is laudo, laudare, laudavi, laudatum. To praise. Lavo, lavare, lavavi, lavatum. To wash. Nuntio, nuntiare, nuntiavi, nuntiatum. To announce. Maritu, maritare, maritavi, maritatum. To marry. Maritus, husband, and maritus means husband. Marita means wife. Maritus means married. It is an adjective. Nuntius means messenger. That is a masculine word. And populus is people. That is also a masculine word, second declension. Moving on to review vocabulary. This review vocabulary is used and learned in the curriculum from your 4th grade year or the previous year, last year. These are words that we will probably use in texts of translation, so it's good to memorize these words again. Some of you will find it easier, some of you will find it harder. But we have puer, boy, and puella, girl. We have filius, son, and filia, daughter. We have germanus, brother, and germana, sister. We have amicus, friend, male. I usually say male friend or friend that is a male. Or amica, female friend, or friend that is female. And then we have anquila, which is maidservant. In this lesson in chapter 8, we also are continuing to learn genitive. Genitive is just a fancy name to learn possession, the possessive nouns. Basically, we are learning nouns that just add apostrophe S at the end of a noun. For example, the woman's. I'm going to move my screen here so you can kind of see the board. Genitive is just sword, your basic noun, sword. Ooh, this is backwards. And you're just adding an apostrophe S to it. The other way to translate this is to write of the sword. That's all that genitive case is. In English, we call those possessive nouns. But in Latin, they just call them genitive. So we are learning how to translate those into Latin and also the reverse, from Latin into English and English into Latin. So we're going to be learning more about the genitive case this lesson and how to do that. We have a couple grammar questions that we are going to go over. The grammar questions are, in Latin, a possessive word usually comes or describes the word it modifies. A Latin genitive can nearly always be translated with the preposition of the. So instead of saying the sword's belt, you're saying the belt of the sword. It's just how you translate into Latin. You will see a lot of classical educators and translated Latin texts use that way of translating. It's good to get used to that, and it's just the old way of saying possessive nouns. That is what we are learning this week in Latin. I hope you find this helpful. If you have any questions on your homework, of your child's homework, you can feel free to send a picture of the problem and send it to me on Class Dojo in one of the messages. I usually check my email once or twice a night in the evening for this very reason. I understand that not all the parents know Latin, so send me a message and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you and have a great week.